It was a historic moment for Colombia and the rest of the world. After 52 years of fighting, the Colombian state and Marxist rebels FARC have agreed to a bilateral and definitive ceasefire. But while many here are celebrating, others think these peace negotiations remain controversial. Leading the opposition is former President Álvaro Uribe, who portrays the agreement as handing Colombia over to terrorism.
La palabra paz queda herida.
The word peace has been wounded by accepting that those responsible of crimes against humanity, such as kidnappings, car bombs, recruiting minors, and rape, will not spend a day in prison.
Colombians will have to approve the peace deal in a plebiscite, but Uribe's parties launched a campaign of civil resistance, gathering signatures asking Colombians to vote against it.
This is to start a movement. We want Colombians to unite against what the government is doing. We want peace, but not like this.
While the FARC continues to resort to drug trafficking and extortion, this is a great lie. For us, this is a money laundering process, possibly the greatest in history.
While most analysts consider these arguments a travesty, Colombians remain deeply divided and uncertain of how these agreements will be implemented. Polls show that a slight majority would vote in favor of a deal, but with President Santos' approval ratings at just 20%, the result is far from certain. Making matters worse, the president recently infuriated many Colombians, suggesting that if they vote against the deal, the FARC would step up their urban war.
The idea of peace itself is quite popular amongst ample sectors of Colombian society, but when you start asking about how they would feel towards having an ex-guerrilla as a neighbor or as a friend of their children or a companion in the workplace, or even worse, as a politician, the negativity starts coming forward. And this is something that it's going to be a process after such a long war.
And it's something the government needs to work on immediately if it wants to win the referendum and successfully implement the peace agreement. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogota.